We are here today for a probation violation formal hearing. The informal hearing was held back on December 23rd of 2024. Are 4 counts on the requested warrant for a probation violation that was signed by this court on December 13th. It alleged 4 counts. 1, that the defendant failed to enroll in Catholic Human Services outpatient services program. 2, that the defendant allegedly used methamphetamine. 3, that the defendant attempted to submit a fraudulent or altered sample. And 4, that she had allegedly possessed alcoholic beverages. Are those the only counts? In other words, it's just the one sheet?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Harrison, how's your client wish to respond to those allegations today?
Your Honor, we believe that we've reached a resolution of the matter wherein she would enter a guilty plea to counts 2 and 4.
Mr. Is that acceptable for the people?
It is, Your Honor.
This, is it macro or macro?
Macro.
All right, thank you. Ms. Macro, have you heard what the attorneys have told me we're doing today?
Yes.
Is that how you wish to resolve this?
Yes, I do.
Please raise your right hand. Ma'am, do you swear or affirm that the information and testimony that you're about to provide shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You may lower your hand. Ms. Macro, as we had talked about last month, you have the right to have a contested hearing. Do you understand that by pleading guilty to 1 or more of these counts, you will be waiving your right to have that hearing?
Yes, I do.
At that hearing, the prosecutor would have the burden of proof by a preponderance of the evidence. You could question or cross-examine any witnesses presented against you, review the evidence presented against you, as well as the right to present witnesses, evidence, or testimony if you chose to do so. And of course, you would have the right to not testify and not have that silence used against you. Do you understand those rights?
Yes.
And again, do you understand that by pleading guilty to 1 or more of these counts, you will be waiving those rights? Now, if you're found guilty and the court accepts that guilty plea, you will be resentenced on your original offense. You were originally convicted in this case of possession of the controlled substance methamphetamine. That is a felony punishable by up to 10 years and or up to $15,000. Now, these 2 appear to be technical violations. Technical violations are important because they require the court to use a sliding scale of potential punishment. Mr. Potter, have there been any other prior probation violations?
No, Your Honor.
Because there are 2 technical violations, the most the court could give you would be up to 30 additional days on top of your sentence. Do you understand? All right. Have there been any other promises, threats, or inducements to force or compel you to waive your rights and plead guilty?
No.
As to counts, you said 2 and 4. Is that correct, Mr. Harrison?
Correct.
As to counts 2 and 4, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Before the court can accept that plea, it must have you tell me what it is that you did that makes you guilty of the offense. Now, before you do so, the court takes judicial notice of the terms and conditions of probation that I signed back on December 13th of 2023, and that were subsequently acknowledged by you on March 4th of 2024. Regarding count 2, is it true, Ms. Macro, that on or about December 13th of 2024, you had tested positive because you had used some methamphetamine?
Yes.
And did you realize that it was a violation of your bond conditions, not only that, a violation of the law to use methamphetamine?
Yes.
And also, is it true that you were found to be in possession of alcoholic beverages?
The vehicle that I was driving that day actually had alcohol in it.
Okay, well, let's be a little bit more specific. Where was the vehicle?
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
sorry.
wait. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Where was the alcohol in the vehicle?
I really don't know because it wasn't my vehicle. I was just driving it that day because my car was in the shop.
Okay.
I
So,
just found after I was.
all right. So,
Yeah.
all right. So this, in Ms. Macro, this is not an issue between you and I, the court and you. This is an issue that I just get a little upset at because the parties are wasting my time. The attorneys are. Your attorney should have asked you, what are you going to say? He said that. If you told him that, then they just wasted my time. Or they wasted my time because he didn't ask you, what are you gonna be able
Well,
to
I
say?
acknowledge there was alcohol in the vehicle.
No. I can't do that.
No.
You have to know it's there. You have to know where it's at. I'm not doing that. So this is wasting my time. What are we doing, Mr. Harrison?
We could change that to count one.
Mr. Wiggins, is that acceptable?
I'm okay with that.
All right, Ms. Macro. Count one is that you allegedly failed to enroll in Catholic Human Services outpatient program.
Okay,
All right, so instead of pleading to count 4, how do you plead to count 1?
guilty.
The same punishment, the same everything all applies. Ma'am, is it true that on or about December 13th of 2024, you failed to enroll in Catholic Human Services when you were directed to do so by Mr. Potter? Had you been told to go to Catholic Human Services?
Oh, yeah.
And you failed? How long prior to December 13th had you been told
I
to
was
go?
required to do a drug assessment, and once I did that, I was waiting for the outcome of it, and I finally got it, so now I can get that handled.
When did you go in for the assessment?
I did it on 9/18/2023.
Okay. All right. Get man. This has nothing to do with you and I. Can't accept that. She didn't know. She went to Catholic Human Services. She never got called back. So somebody figure out what the heck we're doing and stop wasting my time. It's not you, Ms. Macro. So hold
Every
on.
time I went to probation, I asked about it, and it was always told that I needed to contact Catholic Human Services, and I did call multiple times. And never got called back. And finally, I met with Amy Cox yesterday, finally for the first time. And she gave me my report.
Okay, it's all right. Court finds the defendant guilty of count 2, finds that she's not guilty of count 1 or 4. We've got count 3 left. Otherwise, I'm just going to dismiss count 3. And you guys are, or I'm just going to set it for a formal hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just do a hearing.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Macro, this isn't your fault. When we get here, you and your attorney should have already have talked, and he should have asked, what are you going to say when the judge asks you the very, very simple, obvious questions that everyone knows I'm going to ask? All right, Mr. Wiggins, floor is yours. The court still takes judicial notice of the terms and conditions of probation, as I mentioned earlier, from December 13th of 2023, acknowledged by the defendant on March 4th, 2024.
Your Honor, call Brian Potter.
Mr. Potter, please come forward. Raise your right hand. Sir, do you swear or affirm that the information and testimony that you're about to provide shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
You may have a seat. The court takes judicial notice that the witness on the witness stand is Mr. Brian Potter, an agent from Michigan Department of Corrections, also known as the Probation and Parole Office, which is located here in the courthouse. You may continue.
Mr. Potter, could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Brian Potter, BRIANPOTTER.
And are you supervising Jessica Macro as a probationer?
Yes, sir. Or yes, sir.
How long have you been supervising?
Since her sentencing date, about 12 of 23.
Okay, so about a little over a year. In regards to count 1 of the allegations that she failed to enroll at Catholic Human Services as directed, has she been ordered to do that by you?
Yes.
When was that ordered?
Each report date would be talked about, and then at the most recent report date prior to the 12/13, she was given till 12/13 to enroll, otherwise she would be valid.
And so you'd indicated how often were you meeting her?
At that, she had actually reduced to every other month report.
Okay. And when
I don't have my notes in front of me. I apologize.
do you recall when it was?
Originally,
Yes.
after her release from jail.
Okay.
I don't have that date. It would have been, she was given 210, approximately February, March of 24.
March. Okay. She was sentenced. I would ask the court to take judicial notice that she was sentenced on December 12th, 23, sentenced to 210 days of credit for 107 days.
The court does take judicial notice of that. It's what's described here in the file in the judgment of sentence, which was December 11th. May continue.
Mr. Potter, can you tell me more about your interactions with her and telling her that she had her time Catholic Human Services?
Just, it was ordered by the court that she needed to complete the program. I do recall, without my notes in front of me, that she said she was attempting to do so. It just got so far down the line that it was like, given up, you have to get this done.
And so you testified that you started meeting with her roughly March or April, and it's went up until December.
Correct.
Last year. And had you ever received confirmation that she had started attending Catholic Human Services?
No.
Did you receive confirmation of her substance use assessment?
No, not that I recall. Just
moving on to count 2, that on December 13th to 24, she used methamphetamine. What can you tell us about that?
came into the office and tested positive on an oral swab.
Did you administer that test?
I did.
All right.
No. No, that was conducted by Agent Simmons, sorry.
Okay, but you were,
She relayed that information to me.
okay. And as a condition of her probation, is she to use controls, specifically methamphetamine?
She is not allowed to use any.
That she has legal reason to use it. Moving on to count 3, that on or about the 13th to 24, she attempted to submit a fraudulent or altered sample for testing. What can you tell us about that?
There was a search. She had brought her dog with her to report, and the dog needed to be secured upon her arrest. And a search of the vehicle found that there was baking soda and peroxide in the vehicle, 2 common things that people use to attempt to put in their mouth to get around their saliva tests. We've known this for a while and keep an eye out for it. They were found in a solution in a water bottle in her vehicle right by the driver's seat.
They were found in a solution?
They were both found in the powder form of the baking soda because they thought it was actually drugs at first, and then the peroxide, and then they found the water bottle with the mixture inside the water bottle also.
So I want to make sure I'm following. They found peroxide separate. They found baking soda separate.
Yes.
And then they found a solution.
Within a water bottle.
Was there any testing to see whether or not the solution contained either peroxide or?
No, there was.
Had the,
I don't know if we'd have the ability to test for that.
had the peroxide been opened?
I did not find any. I have pictures of all the items, but I can't tell you. We'd have to have Agent Simmons come up.
Was the baking soda?
I have photos on my work phone.
Was it in a box or some other?
I think it was in a plastic container or in a bag. I'd have to recall because I was not planning on hearing today. I apologize.
Did Agent Simmons have that information?
She was, or in.
Was there any evidence that she had those items or some amount of those items when she came in to do the test? That's the key question. I don't care if she had it in her car.
They were left in the car. The water bottle was left in the car.
All right. So was there anything on her? There was nothing on her person.
Not to my knowledge.
Copy that. All right, thank you.
And then the possession of alcohol, what can you tell us about that?
There was a bottle of Fireball and a can of, I can't remember the name of it, but it was found within the vehicle. I had photos of that also found within the vehicle during the search. So they would have been in the possession of the defendant when she drove the vehicle in by herself.
And that was after she tested positive or before?
It was after she tested positive with the search of the vehicle.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Found in the vehicle.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I don't have that answer.
Williams? Harrison, sorry.
That test, you called it an oral swab.
Yes.
That's designed to find the presence of drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
And it's positive only for methamphetamine.
Correct.
Nothing peculiar about that.
I guess it depends on how you're asking.
I'll let it go. You ordered her to take up with Catholic Human Services on what date, sir?
Each report date from the time she would have started reporting, she would have been informed to,
Okay, so when was the first date that happened?
back to, from the time that she signed her order of
Okay,
probation,
so 12/23.
whenever the order would have been signed. would have
So
been the first
you
time
met
it
with her, in January?
got- She would have been in jail in January.
Okay, you met with her in February 24,
It was probably March.
March 24, okay. And every other month since then?
It would have probably been monthly for the first few months, and then it was going
Okay.
every other month.
So your testimony is that you began telling her, you gotta take care of the CHS thing on as early as 3/24.
Correct.
And you're also saying that you were not aware that you got no confirmation that she had done that?
Correct.
What kind of confirmation would you get? Would you get a copy of the substance use assessment?
There's several different ways. Normally, the most common way is we get an email from Catholic Human Services.
Okay. And you're saying that never happened here?
And to the best of my knowledge, no.
Okay, so if she went to visit CHS and obtain an assessment in 9/24, 9/23,
We would not have used that assessment anyway,
okay. So you would have wanted it to be
because that would have been 6 months prior to our.
indicative of
supervision.
post-conviction
Right.
visitation. Okay, thank you, nothing further.
Mr. Wiggins?
Mr. Potter, what was the reading, the deadline of December 13th in order to complete Catholic Human Services?
It just gets to the point where they have to complete before they get off probation. They have to have their assessments done. Normally we want them done right away. And sometimes we're more lenient than we should be on allowing them not to complete their treatment program.
Okay.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Harrison, any further?
Nothing further, thank you.
Mr. Potter, you may step down.
Thank you.
Mr. Wiggins, any further evidence?
No, no.
Mr. Harrison, any evidence?
I have no further proofs to offer, Your Honor. I would have the court accept and evaluate statements that have already been made by Ms. Becker in this matter.
Do that, Mr. Wiggins gets the cross-examiner. Mr. Wiggins, do you wish to conduct, I'm sorry, anything else? That's okay.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. The court hereby finds the defendant guilty of counts 1 and 2. Finds her not guilty of counts 3 and 4. I have no evidence as to where the alcoholic containers were. That would suggest that they were known by the defendant. I don't sound like I have fingerprints on them, although I know that it's a honors of the evidence. The attempt to submit a fraudulent or altered sample, even if she had the items in her car, they're items that she could possess. Nobody tested what was in the bottle. I got no idea. She'd have to actually come in and try to do something, but because she tested positive for meth, obviously if she tried it, there's no evidence she tried it, and she was found to have used meth. And she did not. And there's one with the failing. Somebody who tells me, oh, I kept calling and it's somebody else's fault, they never called. That just never flies. I can partially understand what a person's thinking. Well, I did something. Heck no. You're a convicted drug possessor and now user here. If you have a substance abuse problem and you want to get yourself fixed, you get into Catholic Human Services. You tell your probation officer that didn't call me, could you please help me? Can't stand it when people come to court and tell me, Well, I never got a chance at rehab because they never returned to my call. The building is just down the street. Walk down and get his tail end to the department for treatment. It's really simple. If you don't want to get treatment, then by God, don't get it. So now we're going to move to sentencing. Can we proceed to sentencing?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to direct that we do. Go ahead, Mr. Potter.
Your Honor, this is the defendant's first violation before the court. The court's already aware that sentencing originated in 23, was given a 2-year probation term, so we still have 12 or about 11 months of probation left. Guidelines go to 17. Based on the 30 days, Your Honor, the defendant has additional 27, if not given additional time today, would be 28 days. So it would either be 195 or 196 if we count today, total credit. I would recommend that the defendant be given time served at the 196, probation continued. And I'll just advise the court that the defendant does have a warrant out of Manistee County for probation violation, as she was being supervised in both counties and has to get the same behavior taken care of over there.
What'd you say about continuing? Just
Continue probation, yeah.
Mr. Wigan,
I have no objection to the recommendation.
Mr. Harris.
I can't think of a way that I could possibly object to that would make sense, Your Honor.
Ms. Macro, you have the right to be heard. Anything else you wish to say? May I please see your PSI?
Yes, sir.
You can just bring me your folder or whatever's easy. Defendant has a relatively short criminal history. It looks like it all largely comes from 2022 to 2023. Back in 22, she had probation violations on a drug case. Looks like there was another drug case in 2023 while on bond in Leelanau County, but it says pending. Do we know what happened to that case, Mr. Potter?
In Leelanau County?
That's what it says, 86th District Court.
I do not know that yet.
Okay. Picked up another case pending in Grand Traverse County back in 2023. Do we know what happened? It looks like she had a bond revoked back in December of 2023 when this case was being handled. Anybody know what happened to that? By the way, she had 2 cases in Grand Traverse County. Right. Those allegedly occurred on bond. And the case here in our county occurred while the defendant was on probation. Of course, that was through the case out of Manistee County. And that case was possession of controlled substance. Yeah. And I see back in the PSI, she had no rehab before, and she had never been into a period of treatment. She had alcohol issues. I don't know how much that means. It says frequently, so that's okay. So marijuana in the from the 2000s, but in 2023, it started to spiral out and start to involve meth and other drugs. So I don't really know what to do. And obviously my tone today is, I'm really bothered by the fact that we went through this process. She didn't admit guilt. I don't care that she didn't. She tried to, and that's okay. That's fine. The lack of preparation is bothersome. The fact that she had a couple other cases while on bond, and I don't know how those resolved. But she had another case. This one was while on probation for another drug case. She doesn't care to go in and get the rehab that we offer her. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I could keep her on rehab. And if I can only get somebody, sometimes the defendants will appreciate what we do, what so many people do to get them into treatment, to pay for treatment. I spend a lot of my time talking to people about getting grants, getting money to help drug addicts in our county, in Wexford County. And I'll tell you, the only people who don't seem to care are the people sitting in orange. We get money to get Catholic Human Services into the jail. We get money to get them over into the jail in Wexford or Misaki County. We get adult treatment services to come to the county with a mobile unit to help people. There's Narcan everywhere across the county. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm just deciding if I really just send this message with Miss Macro, because if I terminate your probation, next time you appear in front of me and I see that I did that, I'm going to know you deserve to go to prison. Okay? I don't, if you don't care, why should I care?
I agree.
You're back to using meth within a couple months. You're not going into the rehab. You are wasting my time, his time, his time, his time. Catholic Human Services. Well, here's what I'm going to do. The court's going to continue probation as set, because here's the real message. You got 2 probation violations, 2 more, and then it's away from the county and off to a prison. Court sentences you to 240 days. That's 210 plus the 30, all that I'm allowed to give you. Had he come today with a picture of, and there was some evidence that the fireball was inside of the passenger compartment, you'd get another 15. 195 days of credit. Fines and costs preserved. I assume she's made no payments. Oh my God. Thank you. You're going to receive a piece of paper here in just a moment. Tells you what your appellate rights. You have the right to appeal the conviction and sentence in your case. That's typically done by filing a claim of right to appeal if there's a trial. However, based upon the plea, any appeal must be done by filing an application for leave to appeal. If you choose to file an application for leave to appeal, you may complete the bottom half of the copy that you're going to take with you and return to the court within 42 days. If you choose not to appeal, you may simply dispose of your copy of the document. If you actually care, get over to Catholic Human Services and get some treatment. Otherwise, I don't know. We're adjourned.
Judge Elmore has some strong thoughts about drug users wasting government resources. Do you agree? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you like this video, please hit subscribe for new videos every week. Until next time.